Alright, so here's an image of my setup to run my shirt with RGB panels. I have two of them. They look different just because of the diffuser sheet I have. This one has here that plastic sheet and some foam underneath. It looks quite nice at night. So it uses the Jason Kuhn shield, which has two level shifters for 16 pin output and ESP32. The Node MCU. It doesn't have all the pins, but it's a smaller chip. So I'm going to plug into the level shifter here, level shifter board. Let me see, make sure I align the pins so I get magic blue smoke. There we go. So that is the NeoPixel ring that is being run by the last port, port 16 here. And then you can see the RGB panel working at the same time. It is using this ribbon, which has 15 pins, one's for ground that can probably be removed. And it's going to the back of the panel here. Those are 3 panels, 1, 2, 3. They look just like this panel here that are daisy chained. I use this panel because it's kind of flexible. It's not super flexible, but it's enough, better than the flat ones. And then I desoldered this power connector, which is way too big to just put power directly on it. And then now the thickest thing is that connector here. And I made my own ribbon connectors that go from here. I cut out the end and I just basically put pins so I can connect it to the board like here. Now on the board, this is another one shown from the bottom. I have a little patch to reroute one wire. By default it uses a pin used by the debugging for RxTX, so I cut that pin and instead I connected I believe to pin 24 if I'm not mistaken, which then goes to the level shifter here. The other little patch you're seeing here is I'm using an unused pin 34 to go to that infrared reader here. That was just an unused pin on ESP32, and here I'm using pin 16 out of the level shifter to go to the NeoPixel ring, which is what you see here. On this one, it's just connected in the front. So now I can use my remote and I can talk to the infrared to change the pattern like this. Obviously it looks a lot better at night, but it's a bit easier to do the video during the day so you can see what it looks like. And that's about it. I'll just do again, show you the ribbon. I made it black because it's going to be on a black shirt. Same ribbon cable we just talked about. You can see what the board looks like. This is how you buy the shield from Jason Kuhn, and just add the level shifters here. These pins can actually be populated like here. They're designed to have rows of NeoPixels, but instead I'm using just the middle row on this one because I only need about the line level. Then the power from that panel is actually connected to a different thicker connector to provide enough amps, so it doesn't have to go through a small board. I hope that makes sense. I'll show you a few demos. This is Aurora code running on SmartMatrix GFX. This one is the Mark Estes table code running on top of LED Matrix, again on top of Smart GFX. Let's see, a few more demos. And then I have the animated GIFs code that I made work also. Let me just switch to that. There we go, here we have animated GIFs. The GIFs are only 64x64, so they're smaller than the panel. So I have centered them, and the top of the bottom of the panel is unused. And I'll show you the back of the panel so you can see what it looks like. Obviously not that great. I'm just hiding all the connectors and the exposed wires. So they're basically daisy chained. I come in from here. The output here goes to second panel, and the second panel goes into third. And this is the output that would go to the next one when I want to daisy chain even more panels. So there you go.